Is the 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander the best new 3-row SUV to buy? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome to Car Help Corner, where we help you, the consumer, master the process of car buying and car ownership. The Toyota Highlander has always been a really safe choice for those who just want a reliable, well-made 3-row SUV that's going to last a long time. But the major issue with it for some buyers is that it just doesn't offer quite enough interior space, especially in the third row seats and the cargo area, when compared to a lot of other similar 3-row SUVs. Well, thankfully that's an issue that Toyota has now solved with the brand new Grand Highlander, which comes with all the same benefits as the regular Highlander, only in a larger, more spacious package. And not only is the Grand Highlander more practical than the regular Highlander, but it also gives you a choice between 3 different drivetrains, including 2 hybrids, a regular hybrid and a brand new Hybrid Max. So with all these amazing updates, has Toyota finally made the best 3-row SUV? And if so, which version should you go for? Well, that's what we're going to find out. And remember, if you enjoy and get value out of this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications. Now, as mentioned, the Grand Highlander is significantly larger than the regular Highlander. It's around 6 inches longer, which makes it roughly halfway in size between the normal Highlander and the full-size Sequoia SUV. The Grand Highlander is available in 3 trims, the XLE, the Limited, and the top-of-the-line Platinum, depending on what features you want and your budget. And as mentioned, it's also available in 3 different drivetrains. Now, Toyota actually invited me to their first drive media event here in Hawaii to test drive every single version. We'll start off behind the wheel of the entry-level engine, which is the 2.4-liter turbo. This is the only non-hybrid engine in the Highlander. It comes matched to an 8-speed automatic transmission with standard all-wheel drive in Canada, or a choice between front-wheel or all-wheel drive in the US. It's the same 2.4 turbo engine that's used in a number of different Toyota and Lexus models, and it produces 265 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. And it also has decent fuel economy, averaging around 22 to 23 miles per gallon, or 11 to 12 liters per 100 kilometers. Now, I will say, even though this is a decent engine, it's easily the least desirable version of the 3 engine choices that you have. It doesn't particularly stand out when it comes to fuel economy or performance, and when compared to the well-proven 3.5 V6 engine that used to be offered in the Highlander, it doesn't even have a track record for proven reliability either. Now, even though this is obviously a more complicated engine design due to turbocharging, thankfully this engine does share a lot of the same well-proven components and technology used in the 4-cylinder engine from the Camry and the RAV4, which means odds are it should be a very reliable engine. But with that said, there's no question, the far more desirable engine options to go for are the hybrids. The first hybrid option in the Grand Highlander is the same one found in the normal Highlander and a number of other Toyota models. It's a 2-motor hybrid system with a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine, a nickel metal hydride battery pack, and available all-wheel drive or standard all-wheel drive in Canada. Now, of course, the major benefit that you get with the hybrid is fuel economy, which is extremely impressive. It's rated for around 35 miles per gallon or 7 liters per 100 kilometers, which is significantly better fuel economy than the non-hybrid. And because you have 243 horsepower, you're not sacrificing too much power and acceleration either, which is a great thing. But what I think is really great about the hybrid is that it only costs around $2,000 to $3,000 more than the equivalent non-hybrid, which means that you're getting much better fuel economy, similar performance, and a well-proven track record for reliability for not a huge price premium. And that reliability is another key to the hybrid. Toyota has been making hybrids for around 25 years, so they have a very well-proven reputation. The technology used in this hybrid system, from the simple non-turbo engine to the eCVT transmission, is absolutely rock solid and well proven, so you're not going to have to be concerned with a lot of repair issues, even beyond 10 to 15 years. And not only do you have the peace of mind of well-proven reliability, but I also think the refinement of the hybrid is a bit better as well. It's a relatively quiet and smooth ride, and you really don't notice the gas engine turning on and off as you drive. The refinement is quite good, which is something that Toyota hybrids are certainly well known for. But with that said, you certainly do not have a lot of power. 243 horsepower is really not too much for a big, heavy SUV like this. And I have to admit, when you're pushing it really hard, the engine does sound a little bit gravelly and crude, especially thanks to that eCVT transmission. So if you want the best driving experience with much better performance, then you're going to want to take a closer look at the optional Hybrid Max. The Hybrid Max is the third engine option available on the Grand Highlander, and as mentioned, this is the one that you want if you want maximum performance. Unlike the normal hybrid, which has a non-turbo engine and an eCVT, the Hybrid Max has a 2.4-liter turbocharged engine, along with a 6-speed automatic transmission and an electric motor with a hybrid battery pack. And the combination of that turbo engine and the electric motor means that it produces 362 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. That's a lot more power than you get from a lot of other comparable 3-row SUVs, which means that the Hybrid Max is able to accelerate to highway speed in around 6.5 seconds. And because you just have a normal 6-speed automatic transmission, it has a much more conventional driving feel too, with none of the droning that you get from the eCVT in the normal hybrid. And what's really great is that the Hybrid Max is also able to achieve pretty decent fuel economy. It's rated for around 27 miles per gallon, or just under 9 liters per 100 kilometers, which is obviously not as good as the normal hybrid, but given that you're getting much better performance, that's still very impressive. Part of that efficiency is thanks to a full-time electric all-wheel drive system, which means you just have a simple electric motor powering the rear wheels, just like you have on the other hybrid. So ultimately, the Hybrid Max really gives you the best of both worlds. Really strong performance combined with hybrid fuel economy, which is something Highlander buyers have been waiting for quite some time. What's really nice about the Grand Highlander though is that despite whichever version you go for, you do have a very smooth and comfortable ride. Now, it doesn't have a fancy air suspension or adaptive suspension that you find on some other SUVs, but I have to say the balance between ride quality and handling is quite impressive. And because this is a big, airy SUV with tall windows all the way around, it does have decent outward visibility, which is great to see. Of course, next to offering two amazing hybrid options, the other major benefit that you have with the Grand Highlander is amazing interior space. There's no question this is a significantly more spacious SUV than the normal Highlander. You not only have plenty of space in both the front and second row seats, but even the third row seats have more than enough space for a pair of adults to sit comfortably even on longer trips. Accessing the third row seats is very easy, and both the second and third row seats can fold perfectly flat, giving you even more space. You have around 22 cubic feet of space behind the third row seats, enough to fit 7 carry-on bags, and with all the seats folded flat, you have just over 97 cubic feet of space. Really impressive. So there's no question, if you want a very spacious 3-row SUV, comparable to that of a minivan or a much more expensive full-sized SUV, then the Grand Highlander is the one to have. Aside from the dramatically improved interior space though, the interior is very similar to the normal Highlander, which is not a bad thing. That means you have the same amazing large touchscreen infotainment system with Toyota's multimedia interface. A very good user interface that's very responsive, has a great menu structure, and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And on the Limited and Platinum trims, you also have a fully digital gauge cluster behind the steering wheel, which has a lot of customizability to it, depending on what information you want to see. But even though you have a lot of great technology, I like that Toyota still gives you a lot of straightforward controls, especially on the center console and for your climate controls, which is great to see. This is a very straightforward, user-friendly interior, and it's also very practical with a lot of storage space. You have plenty of storage bins, cup holders, and even USB-C charging in all 3 rows of seats. The second row seats also have window privacy shades, and on the higher trims, heated and ventilated seats. The Grand Highlander also comes standard with a lot of great active safety technology, which is part of Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. And with that, I think it's time to get into the pricing. The pricing for the standard engine ranges from $44,000 to $54,000 US, or $53,000 to $57,000 Canadian. Pricing for the hybrid ranges from $46,000 to $56,000 US, or $56,000 to $60,000 Canadian. And finally, the Hybrid Max goes for $55,000 to $60,000 US, or $68,000 Canadian. That means the Grand Highlander is only a few thousand more than the normal Highlander, which is very reasonable when you consider how much extra you're getting for the money. Now, the Grand Highlander is certainly not perfect. For one thing, for an SUV that's supposed to be all about interior space and family practicality, it is a little bit odd that the 8-seater version with the second row bench is only offered on the base XLE model. Every other version of the Grand Highlander, at least here in Canada, is only sold as a 7-seater with second row captain's chairs. And another major disadvantage for Canada is that the only way you can get the Hybrid Max is by going for the top of the line Platinum trim, which is the most expensive one. Luckily for US buyers though, the Hybrid Max is offered on both the Limited and the Platinum trims. So with that said, I think the best value in the lineup is just to go for the base XLE, which still comes amazingly well equipped, but you also have the best practicality with the 8-seater configuration. And with the Hybrid, you also have the best fuel economy too, all for a very reasonable price. But if you want maximum performance and don't mind spending more, then there's no question, the Limited trim with the Hybrid Max is also an amazing package to go for. Either way, I think there's no question. When you compare the Grand Highlander against a lot of other comparable 3-row SUVs, you are getting a lot of value here. The pricing is really not that different from a comparable Hyundai Palisade, Kia Telluride, Honda Pilot, or the new Mazda CX-90. And although those other SUVs might have a few small benefits here and there, I think there's no question. When you look at the overall packaging of what you're getting, the interior space, the cargo space, the fuel-efficient hybrid option, and also that reputation for reliability and strong resale value, there's no question that the Grand Highlander has a lot of advantages. The fact that it's available in 2 fuel-efficient hybrids is a major selling point, and something that you still can't get in a lot of other 3-row SUVs. No question, any family or individual really that wants the most spacious, the most fuel-efficient, and the most reliable SUV that you can buy, well, the Grand Highlander should definitely be at the top of your list. I think I'm going to have to get the Grand Highlander back to back with a few of these other SUVs to see how they really compare. But in the meantime, if you want the most fuel efficient, the most practical, and the most reliable 3-row SUV that you can buy, the Grand Highlander really needs to be at the top of your list. So would the Toyota Grand Highlander be your top pick for a 3-row SUV, or would you go for one of the other ones instead? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. You can also take a look at my other car videos by clicking these links over here. Make sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and if you need additional car buying advice, recommendations, or help with getting a great deal on your next new car purchase, make sure to check out carhelpcanada.com. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.